Here we're finding the notes for the G major scale. This is a 7-note scale, and we'll find these notes by first examining the C major scale to determine the correct spacing of the notes, which will give us a formula which we can then use to find the notes of our G major scale. Here's how we'll proceed. On the staff, draw a G clef, and our start note is a C. Then write in the 7-note scale by alternating lines and spaces. C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. And find the start note on the piano keyboard. The C major scale has all white notes. So D, E, F, G, A, and B are the 7 notes of that scale. Now we're going to analyze this C major scale. If we're on a white note, the next available note is this black note, and that spacing is called a half step. Similarly, if we're on a black note, the next available note is a white note. The spacing towards the next available note is a half step. Also note that from a white note, in this case an E to an F, these are consecutive notes, next available note. Again, this would be a half step. So here's my formula that describes the spacing of these 7 notes. From a C to a D is 2 half steps, which is a whole step. I write a W. From a D to an E, 2 half steps, or a whole step. From an E to an F is a half step. From an F to a G is a whole step. From a G to an A is a whole step. From an A to a B is a whole step. And then if we continue these 7 notes to get another note to come back to our C, we would use a spacing of a half step. So our formula is whole step, half step, whole step, whole step, whole step, half step. Here's the ukulele fretboard that's tuned in C6. This fretboard of 4 strings would be appropriate for a soprano, concert, and a tenor sized ukulele. And also the 4th string, I'm using the low G option for that string. The 3rd string open is a C. So follow my formula for the C major scale. It's whole step to a D, whole step to an E, half step to an F, whole step to a G, whole step to an A, whole step to a B, then half step to the C. On the staff, here's the G clef. Then my start note is a G. Then write the next consecutive notes alternating spaces and lines. Find the start note on the keyboard, there's a G. And then use our formula of whole step, half step, whole step, half step. So whole step up from a G is an A, whole step up is a B, half step up, C, whole step, whole step. Whole step is this note here. Now to get the correct spelling, go back to the staff, and we were up to an E. Now here's the F, so that F must be F sharp. And put the sharp in the key signature right there. On the ukulele, we want to find our start note of a G. So if I go to the third string, which is open as a C, here's D, E, F, and here's G. Whole step up is here, which I'll write in parentheses to indicate I'm going to take the next higher string for that A. So here's the E string, there's F, G, here's A. So whole step, half step, whole step, again a string higher, which will be D in this note right here, then whole step, and the half step if we want the next, or the first note of the next in the next octave. We found the notes of our G major scale by examining the C major scale to determine the correct spacing of the notes, which led to a formula of whole step, half step, whole step, half step. And then to apply that formula for our G major scale, on the staff we wrote our start note G, and then the alternating line space and lines for the total of 7 notes. We went then to the piano keyboard to locate a G, and then using the formula wrote in the notes. When we got to a black note, we referred back to the staff to get the correct spelling for the note. We did a similar thing on the ukulele fretboard by finding the start note and then using the formula to find the next notes. Also using the fact that we can go to higher strings to make the playing of that scale easier.